guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review for the Kingmaker's Daughter by Philippa Gregory. This is in her Cousins War series, and I just finished this book not long ago, and it is about Anne Neville, who became Queen Anne after she married King Richard III, the last Plantagenet king, and this book starts off when she is almost 9 years old, and then ends until she's 28, her death. Now this was a really cool addition to this book because you really don't know much about Queen Anne. Anne Neville, she was basically a pawn. She was married first to the son of Margaret of Anjou and King Henry VI, and she was basically a pawn in her father's family. Her father only had girls, her and her sister Isabel, and she was basically that. She was basically used to marry. She was supposed to marry well and get heirs. That was basically what she was supposed to do. I really liked this book. It was really interesting to see different characters in the book in a different light. Like, for example, you see George, who is the brother of Edward IV, in a more sympathetic light than you did, for example, with the White Queen. The White Queen, Elizabeth Woodville, actually absolutely hated George, and said he was greedy, and said he was this horrible person, and you see him in a more sympathetic light in this book when Anne Neville is telling the story, because it's in the first person point of view of Anne Neville. Now, there wasn't really much I didn't like about the book. I kind of wish she wouldn't have done, I know I'm contradicting myself here, but I wish she wouldn't have done one about, about Anne Neville, because she didn't live very long. She really didn't have much power, much influence, and I really wish that Philippa Gregory would have done, or will do, I don't know if she's done with her series yet, she might not be. I wish she would have done one about Margaret d'Anjou and given her side of the story, because history has not been kind to her. They see her as this power-hungry woman, this she-wolf. I think Shakespeare called her the she-wolf, and I really would have liked to see her point of view as, I really would have loved to see her point of view through Philippa Gregory's writing, and she didn't really, Anne Neville didn't really do much during history. She's just kind of there. She was a pawn, basically, and I didn't know much about her, and I was surprised that Philippa Gregory did a book about her. And one thing that a lot of people don't like when it comes to Philippa Gregory's writing is whenever Philippa Gregory talks about witchcraft, and she did this in the White Queen and Lady of the Rivers, and it's also touched on in this book, that she has these powers, and Philippa Gregory perceives them as real, perceives them as real things that happen in history. And you have a lot of people that think, oh, it's bull, that didn't really happen, why is she doing this? But you have to remember, in this day and age, this time period, this was real. This was as real as maybe other things like scientific discoveries or as real as other things that we have now that we know the cause of. To them, it was real. It was very much real. And in this book, more Isabel, the sister of Anne Neville, is really paranoid about witchcraft. And there's a scene in this book where they're in a ship, and she has to give birth, and she ends up losing the baby, and the cause of the horrible water and the horrible conditions on the ship was attributed to witchcraft, the witch's wind that was the witch's wind that was called up by Elizabeth Woodville and her mother Jacquetta. But they didn't really have the instruments or the knowledge to understand the weather conditions like we do today. So to them, witchcraft was real. It was very much real, and many people died because they were seen to be quote-unquote witches, and it's just craziness. It was just superstitious nonsense. And you still have people that kind of believe things like that today, but it's not as prevalent. We know why certain things happen. We know why illnesses happen. But to them it was very much real, and that was the only reason for certain things happening and things like that. But I really enjoyed this book. I would have liked to see her write more about Margaret of Anjou. I want to see a book like that. But in this series, I really liked knowing about the character of Anne Neville, because you don't really hear much about her in history. She died very young. She died at the age of 28, and she really did not, didn't contribute anything to medieval society. She was a woman, and she was supposed to marry well and produce heirs. But I really like to see different points of view, like the same stories, but in different points of view and seeing the characters in different lights. And I think that Philippa Gregory does a really good job of that. Some people don't really like her writing, but I don't mind it. There's sometimes that I get frustrated with her, and she didn't really do it in this book, but in previous books, she kind of goes on about how bad women had it, and it's like, I understand that. I get it, I understand women did not have good lives. We get it. They could be raped, and, that tough crud, And I'm not saying I agree with that at all, but I'm not saying, but it's in the past, is what I'm trying to say. It's in the past, and we understand it, and she's written tons of sex scenes where it's horrible stuff has happened to women, and it's like, we understand it. Women did not have good lives in that time period. I'm rambling, but overall, I really enjoyed this book, and I think it's a good addition in the Cousins War series, and I'm glad I was able to read it again, and things like that. Now, I'm going to change up a little bit of an announcement. I am going to talk about, I might change up my style a little bit for my book reviews. I might do something where I might read about a topic and maybe discuss the book, but also, if it's possible, maybe discuss my views on topics, because I read everything. I try and read different kinds of things. I don't just stick to one genre. So if there is maybe a book with a really poignant theme, I might say my own opinions on it. In some books, obviously, I won't be able to do. For example, if I read an autobiography, I don't know. I'm just probably going to talk about the book at that point. Talk about the book at that point. I will not really be able to give my opinion on certain issues because it's just an autobiography. But I'll see. But I just want to kind of share my views and things like that, and not just have it be a discussing the book and moving on. I want it to be something else more, because I think anyone can just say I liked the book and move on, but I really want to do something different, so that will be really cool. And you might hear some ranting, which I'm sure a lot of people on YouTube like that. So that will be a lot of fun. And I ordered some things today, some CDs. So I might do another box opening, or if it doesn't come in a box, it'll be an unenveloping, as I said, for my Pokemon Moon game that I got. And that's all. I really enjoy this book, and if you started the Cousins War, or maybe haven't read this book, I would give it a read. It's not my favorite in the series, but it still is a good read, and I'd recommend it. And I promise, the next video that I do, I will not be wearing the sweatshirt. I'll be wearing something else. I promise you that. It's just really comfortable. That's why I do it. I'm not lazy. It's just really comfortable. And I promise to wear something different whenever I do my next video. I promise. I promise, I promise, I promise. So, please like, subscribe, and share my videos. Bye, guys.